commentary by Luigi Bracco on the Gospel of John. February 26, 1984, Fossano, Italy. But Jesus, bending down, began to write on the ground with his finger. John chapter 8 verse 6. Here it is said that Jesus wrote with his finger on the ground. So, while God is silent among us, he writes on earth, and here we have to remember the concept of earth. We have seen that God created heaven and earth in the beginning, and the concept of earth is an opposite concept to the concept of sky. Sky is where all things are seen according to God. I would say that the sky represents all things in relation to God, and the earth represents all things in relation to man, in relation to man's ego. So we have a world which dominates the skies and which is everything according to God, and we have a world, the earth, which is in relation with ourselves, in which we can write our will, our works, our intentions, our thoughts. At the center of the earth is the thought of ourselves, and this is evident. Because more men think of themselves, more stones or earth they accumulate around them, believing that their prestige increases in proportion to what they own. The men stack stones and then climb on them to build the monument. So what can this God who is silent and writes on earth mean? We have seen that a distinction must be made between the written word and the spoken word. The spoken word is the one that comes out of the speaker's mouth. The spoken word is that which is pronounced by the presence of a being. Instead, the written word is a sign left in the presence of another being. The spoken word requires silence, listening, dedication on the part of the person who receives it. It requires above all intelligence in the presence of the person who speaks it. Who determines the listening time? The intelligence is the one who speaks, and if the listener is not available, is not attentive, he cannot reach the intelligence of the word which is spoken to him. In writing, however, the thing is upside down. In the written word, the word is accessible to anyone who wants to read it. So we can say that in writing, reading time is determined by who reads and not by who writes. In the spoken word, however, the time is determined by the speaker. If we let this time pass, when the speaker speaks his word to us, we lose the opportunity. It is this God who knocks at the door of our house, and if we let him go, we will no longer be able to hear this word. Above all, we will no longer be able to understand this word. While the written word is always at our disposal, apparently it seems that writing is preferred because it is always available to us, apparently. Because it is not the written word that saves us, but the spoken word. The concept of salvation lies in the concept of surpassing oneself. However, which gives us the possibility of overcoming the thought of our ego. It is the presence of the other. It is only when the other is present in front of us and speaks to us that he offers us the possibility of liberation, of overcoming the thought of our ego, and therefore of salvation. In fact, Jesus said that man lives by every word that comes out of the mouth of God, and not by every written word. By every word that goes out of the mouth of God. For the mouth, therefore, from the presence of the speaker. Because only the presence of a person who speaks to us gives us the possibility, which is grace, to go beyond the thought of ourselves and to participate in the world of the other, in the thought of the other, in the spirit of the other. It makes us understand that the spoken word of God is a precious opportunity. It is the means by which we can go from our earth to heaven, from ourselves to the Spirit of God, from the letter to the Spirit. It is through the spoken word that we can know God. But then what is the use of the written word? We said that God is silent so as not to judge man. So it is an act of mercy, but he writes on the earth, and at this point we have to ask ourselves what he writes on the earth. If what saves man is the presence of God speaking to us, God writes his presence on our earth. The written word is an announcement, a sign, made in our body, at our disposal, to tell us that God exists. that God is present, that is to say, to give us the possibility of listening to the spoken word, therefore to give us the possibility to pass from the written word to the spoken word. It is only if we reach the word which comes out of the mouth of God, therefore which comes out of the presence of God, that we have the possibility to pass to the spirit of things, to pass to the knowledge of God, that is, to overcome our finite world and participate in the infinite world of God.